My name is Father Jeff Earnst. I'm a Capuchin Franciscan, and I am pastor at St. John the Evangelist Church in Lawrence, Kansas. Here's a good question from Emma Sanchi. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. In an age of social media, and given what has been labeled as a highly narcissistic or egocentric generation of youth, what are some of the potential blockages to a relationship with Christ, and how can we counteract them while still remaining connected to the world at large? First off, I'll just say that this contemporary generation of youth, you do not have a monopoly on being narcissistic or egocentric. That is those are human characteristics, and they've been with us ever since human beings have been around. However, I understand your question, and that is true that it does, the recent generations of youth, they have been labeled as such by all kinds of groups, media and other people, as self-focused, more self-focused, or narcissistic, or whatever it might be. So in that context then, what are some of the potential blockages to a relationship with Christ? And how can we counteract them while still remaining connected to the world at large? Very good question, because your question integrates every part of human existence and human life. So some of the blockages to a relationship with Christ could be that over self-absorption. So now there are going to be times in people's lives, especially in young people's lives, where you're going to be preoccupied with your future, or with what you're called to do, or how are you going to live out your life? How are you going to live your career? And how am I going to make a living? So a lot of that naturally does happen, that you're preoccupied with yourself. So what can happen is you can become overly preoccupied with yourself and not really be open to wait, how is God asking you to live your life? What is the direction that God seems to be giving you? And the way to help you to do that, to determine that, is to engage other people. So spiritual companions, some friends who know you well, spiritual direction. So if you're Catholic, a priest. But if you're not, your minister, your Protestant minister or whatever, somebody who can help you to discern your future. It doesn't have to be a priest or minister. It could be a nun, a Catholic nun. It could be a deacon. It could be just a good, strong Catholic person who you admire as a Catholic can help you to, can you tell me how, help me to discern how God might be calling me to live my life. And you do it through prayer and through scripture reading, just opening your heart to God and listening to spiritual music. Those are all ways to help you to prevent blockages to your relationship with Christ. Blockages also include things like, of course, sin, right? So serious sin, mortal sin. So any kinds of sins that you might know, and presuming that you're catechized in what sin is, then you would know what those blockages would be. Addictions are other blockages to God. Addictions are, they're very problematic. And so, chemical addictions, alcohol addictions, pornography addictions, those are the three, primary ones. Addiction to spending money, gambling addictions. There are all kinds of addictions. And so, those can be a blockage to Christ because those become the God in a person's life. And so that's why we have to be very careful. Not only youth, but everyone of all ages. We all have to be careful of that because that's the society we live in today. So primarily it would be just to try to counter a tendency toward narcissism or self-absorption, counter that with charity. So thinking about the needs of other people, helping the poor in your life, helping those, serving in a soup kitchen, sharing the gospel with other people, listening to other people who might be struggling in their life, lending an ear to them, being present with them, visiting those who might be sick. We also say visiting the prisoner. So if there's a way that you can do that safely and with oversight and supervision of other people who are professionals at that, visiting people who might be homeless or homebound people, shut in because of age or illness or both, or so a neighbor that might be near you who's lonely, So there are different ways that you become other-centered, and getting involved in food drives and helping to build houses for people. So there's all kinds of ways, all kinds of opportunities. Just check your local church for ways to counter those narcissistic and selfish tendencies within.